Kia ora, my name's Sam McGibbon and I am a child psychologist. I work with children and adolescents who have experienced sexual harm.
Kia ora, I'm Catherine Gallagher and I'm the Clinical Practice Manager at START, and where Sam works and we support children, youth and adults who have experienced sexual harm.
Kia ora, I'm Liz Riley and I work at Manaaki Mental Health and Wellbeing Support in primary schools. And Catherine and Sam, last time we met, we identified that there were a number of other questions that would be of interest to our audience. So this is our part 2 of sexual harm. Okay, so I dare say in your practice you often hear from parents, I experienced something similar, so why is my child struggling? Is that something that you come across? And how would you respond to a parent that thinks that?
Yeah, a little bit. I guess, and we may have touched on this in our other discussions, Liz, but it's the idea of everyone's experience is unique. And so even though we may have had our own experience of sexual harm in our childhood or in our adulthood, that a lot of the circumstances could be quite different. So not only could the circumstances be different, and that might be the age or the stage or the context or the background or who it was who did the harm. Also, it's not just about that context, but who you are as an individual and how you would typically manage stress if you were more of a kind of resilient type of person, as opposed to being really sensitive in nature and not being, as robust, let's say. So we don't really want to judge our children's experiences based on our own, because we're really not then going to be tuning into just exactly what they might be going through. Yeah. I'm sure you've got something to add, Kat.
How did you know? Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I think that individual difference is so important, and I think also it can be really important to, I suppose, take a moment and think about that statement, because for a lot of us, we might not show symptoms, not because we don't have symptoms, but because either there was no space for us to express those thoughts and fears and worries. We might have got in trouble, we might have been too scared. The messaging might have been that we just don't talk about it, and so best to sort of shove it down and not to think about it. That doesn't mean that we weren't impacted. So I think for a lot of the parents that we see, and sexual harm is really common, scarily common, and so we have a lot of people coming through our organisation who, either one or both parents or extended family have experienced sexual harm. And so again, that idea that I'm fine, I never talked about it, again, doesn't mean that isn't the case. You might be fine, but you might also not be. And the idea that I'm around my child's distress, which might activate things in me that I've never had the chance to truly kind of understand and work through, might make me really uncomfortable. So in fact, I want my child to be fine, but kind of get on with it. Whereas if they're actually in a healthy way, having the feelings they need to have, being upset and messy because they need to be, then if I've got my tightly held kind of history, that might be really activating for me. And so there can be those other motives that go in there as well. And just picking up on you use that word resilience, and I think we've made reference to this before, it can sometimes be the strongest amongst us who get the messiest. So it doesn't always mean that if we're strong, we don't get messy. Sometimes it requires a lot of bravery to show our feelings. And so, it's important that if people are showing lots of feeling, it doesn't mean they're weak. Again, the individual difference is so important to create space for that young person to be who they need to be.